All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Michelle Histon, Executive Director of BPHL, and I am super excited to be joined by another female CEO, which I love. So we're here today with Jennifer Rodriguez, and Jennifer is the President and CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Jennifer, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you. Before we jump in, I have so many questions for you. Before we jump in, tell us more about what the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber does.
Absolutely. So the greater. Well, let me just show you, for branding
Yes!
purposes, right? I did
Man,
get the memo.
she's so
uh,
good, you guys. So
I
good.
know. Well, this is my inspiration book next to my nightstand. So this is where, before I go to bed, I write all my thoughts. The Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and it was established 30 years ago to support the growth and development of Latino-owned businesses in the Delaware Valley region. Our goal really is to really be a catalyst, a voice, to really engage the community and in the economic development in the Hispanic community, particularly helping Latino-owned businesses scale up. Like many other chambers, we also have a young professional network because we are also very interested in helping emerging Latino professionals ascend in their career ladders in the corporate world.
I love that. I love that. In my other job, I teach as an adjunct faculty member at Temple, and I've had the opportunity to teach a couple of classes for the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic
Yes.
Chamber on business models and customer acquisition. And the members that I got to work with in the classes were so incredibly engaged and so interested in moving their businesses to the next level.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting. I think the work you do is so important. We have a big Latino population in Philadelphia, so really important work. I love that.
Yes.
So tell us, how are things changing for you in light of COVID? How is your day-to-day changing? I mean, you're home, it looks like, right?
Yeah, you were home. We're in a fireside chat. I had to find the fireplace to just make it all themed, right? Things have changed in some ways dramatically, in some ways not so much, right? We are a chamber. We are accustomed to working off-site and remotely. So we are, so we have adopted the technologies, of the day. And so in terms of the flow of work and in terms of the communications, that really hasn't changed too much. Now, I'm a believer that a lot of creativity happens, I call by the cooler side, right? So not having those physical interactions where a lot of ideas and a lot of concepts and things that happen off the formal in the informal environments, that's something that I miss. But the team is pretty well oiled, so really using the platforms properly helps us still be in communication. So we use Teams, right? We use Microsoft Office 365.
Yeah.
And so I have an idea, I'll send it through the chat. And we have been very, very good about really working like that. Now, in the ways that it has changed dramatically is, as a chamber of commerce, a significant portion of the work that we do is around building social capital, building networks, really fostering relationships between our membership, our members, and people. And so we host about 20 events a year. Those 20 events are in-person events that bring around 3,000 people together, right? So we are now in a position in which we are not bringing those people physically together. And it frankly is not the same thing when you have Zoom and a grid of people, and it just really doesn't do the same thing. Now, so that's 3,000 people we may not get to interact in the same way with. But we roll with the punches, and our team is very creative. And the way we are really sort of pivoting is, of course, doing these sort of remote video conferences. But we are starting to do a lot of very small group interactions, matchmaking, coaching sessions, in which you, in some ways, were able to do more work because the logistics are easier, right?
Yeah.
And so we're trying to use the forums and the platforms that we have in the way that they're best suited to do. So we're not pretending that we're going to be in a mixer drinking and introducing each other, but we still are engaging, and we have called every single member by phone. What are you doing? What do you need? And so in some ways it's the same and better. In some ways it's just incredibly different.
Yeah, I think we're all going through that, right? In my day job, we run design sessions, and so much of that, everything you touched on, the relationship building and building off of the energy in the room, and it's different over Zoom or online. It's just different, and we're all adapting. And it is a time that creativity is kind of front and center. You have to get creative to make
Yeah.
things work, right?
Yeah.
So you're still having events. You're starting to move to some virtual events.
Yeah.
What would you say people can do if they have an idea or if they want to start a business in this time of uncertainty? What are some things you would suggest?
Well, as you mentioned, right, times of uncertainty are times where people's resiliency and leadership, sort of, you have to rise up to the occasion. And in fact, it is a time in which many businesses are born, right? So the last great recession we had, Latinos were starting businesses at a greater rate than any other demographic, and that continues up to this day. So we expect that in the Latino community, particularly, we will see a lot of problem solving and innovation, which really, for those that are in, know our culture, will know the word resolver, to resolve, to just figure out a solution. So in figuring out a solution, we will find, I am convinced that we will find a lot of really new ideas and great businesses being formed.
Oh, I love that. You've added a word to my vocabulary. I've been learning Spanish via Duolingo over the past few weeks. So, yo estudio español mucho.
A resolver, right? And so,
Yeah.
and so the other thing that's really important to note is that so much of the population in the Latino community and in Philadelphia particularly has sort of that immigrant can-do attitude, right? And that resiliency, and the idea these are people and families that just have faced any number of obstacles to come to this country, and they face it all, and so they tend to have just a character and a can-do attitude, and this idea of resolver that I'm convinced will carry them through, and they'll be successful on the other side.
Yeah, no doubt. I love that. Well, so I know that the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber is doing work right now to support the community and to support businesses. Can you talk about those efforts?
Yes. So one thing that our Young Professional Network just came up with, and we're partnering with another Young Professional Network, Alpha of Philadelphia. They're doing a virtual bingo, and they're using those funds to support immigrant restaurant workers of South Philadelphia that really have been affected deeply by the crisis. So that's a really good, fun way to use this sort of virtual environment. We know nobody's going out this weekend, right? So guess what? Just join us and join the chamber and its Young Professional Network, and let's support the community, right? The other initiative that we started really, really early on in this crisis was what we call Dine Latino Takeout Weekend. We know that in the Latino community, the restaurant and food industry are critical in really providing the wealth, the employment, the resources, and really the vibrancy and vitality in our communities and neighborhoods. And that because of the stay away orders, these businesses are operating at a fraction of the capacity that they otherwise would have. And these are businesses that initially really didn't have an online presence and a takeout and delivery model, right? They were neighborhood restaurants, and you go and you have dinner in their dining rooms. So we thought that one of the most effective ways of really helping these businesses was putting cash today in their hands. Yeah. Well, how do you put cash today? Buying from them. So we started the initiative, enrolled over 70 restaurants in it, and frankly, you can support, you can go, and the idea is that we're promoting restaurants. We're telling the community broadly, dine out, dine from a Latino owned restaurant in your neighborhood. Whether the restaurant is enrolled or not, it's really not that important. It's important that we support our local communities. And by the way, take a picture, upload it, and hashtag Latino Takeout, and do that as often as you can, and we'll be helping the community.
I love that. I'm writing that down. So we live in South Philly. We have so many restaurants. We are
I
so lucky. We are surrounded by amazing Mexican restaurants and
yes,
other Latino restaurants.
yes.
So we're going to be, I'm not going to cook tonight. I hate cooking. So I am very happy to dine Latino any time of the day, because
Well,
why cook if you don't have to?
look, you and I both, and I am Puerto Rican. Mexican food is one of my favorite things in the entire world. I just don't seem to be able to cook it well, so I will dine out too.
Well, that's happening tonight at my house.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
no cooking for me. So you guys celebrated a huge milestone in February. You got it in before the lockdown, and I'm so glad to see. You had your 30th anniversary in February. That's phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thank you,
What a
thank
huge
you.
feat. So tell me what you're looking forward to over the next 30 years for the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber.
So I think one of the things that I am most looking forward to is really to meeting the greatest challenge that Latino businesses face, and that is scaling up. While Latinos are starting businesses at 3 times the national average, those businesses start smaller and stay smaller even as they mature when you compare them to non-Latino businesses. And so what we know is that we need strong educational programs that really teach our business owners strategic and leadership skills, right? From soups to nuts. And this is not something that you can do in a workshop, right? So we're really looking for high quality education. We are also looking for access to capital. The reality is that the types of capital that are readily available for small businesses is not ideal. We really need a more flexible product for small businesses, and particularly businesses of color, because they don't tend to have the wealth and the equity to put at risk in a business. So mortgaging your house, for example, that's very risky. And asking an entrepreneur to put their lives and their families at risk to start a business, that's a lot to ask, particularly in communities of color where wealth is really, where wealth is just not where it should be. So, really, are advocating and working with our partners to find flexible capital, equity investments, and such. And also helping Latino businesses um, grow what we call horizontally and vertically, right? So it's sort of grow by acquisition. There is this tendency to want to grow organically. So I have one branch of a restaurant, let me open a second one. Or I am a perfect one is doctor's offices. I have a doctor's practice and I want to grow it. Well, don't grow it organically. Partner with another doctor and buy him out or merger with him, right? And that's a much easier way of doing it. But it's not the way that our community is accustomed to doing the work. And a lot of it has to do with, again, social capital. We don't have that many attorneys, we don't have that many accountants. So there's a lot of expertise that is not as readily available to provide guidance and consultation. And I think that's where chambers of commerce can really make a difference in the next 30 years.
Oh, that's incredible. It's so interesting. You are a wealth of information. This is fascinating.
Ah,
Like taking notes as we're
I
talking.
know. People say, well, Jennifer kills the room, like all the statistics are coming through. And anyway,
That's
it's,
phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
yeah.
But you have anecdotal stories that are backed up with information, and that's what makes people help and make a difference. That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible, I think. So what role do you think the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber will play in recovery efforts? Because it's going to be a mountain that we all have to climb. So
Yeah.
what are you anticipating?
So, you can think of us as first responders for small businesses. I think what we have heard, for example, in the restaurant industry, which is such an important industry for us, is that the prediction is, or the forecast is, that 1 in 5 restaurants is not going to survive this. And if the restaurants do not have a strong catering component and a strong delivery and takeout component, for example, the restaurants will be even more susceptible to closure, right? So I think that what we can do best right now not only is to provide the tools, the resources, and the experts to really help Latino Latino businesses retool, rethink what they're doing, reorganize so that they can restart.
Mhm.
The message that we are sort of trying to spread is that reopening in the new normal will take much more than just turning on the lights and putting your shingle out, right? Businesses will be faced with demands from regulatory agencies, right? From the public health department to the CDC to LNI, there will be requirements, right? There will be demands and expectations from your employees, right? In terms of, am I going to a safe working environment? What happens if I get sick? If somebody in my family gets sick, right? What are my rights? What is the employer responsible for? And then there is a customer, right? The customers will have certain expectations about how you're running your business so that you protect my health as a customer, right? And do I trust that you're doing it right? Well, all of these three have different expectations of the business, and a lot of the expectations will require changes in your operations, in your processes, in your policies, in your insurance, in your, I mean, you may have to reconfigure your space altogether, right? So
Right.
ultimately, your bottom line and your cost structure will be impacted. And how can we help you make the best decisions so that you remain profitable and even do better in the other side of this thing, right? So, so
Yeah.
that's what we're at.
I love that. Yeah, well, that's all you have to handle, right? Not much. It's like a huge
Yeah,
undertaking.
and do that with for 22,000 Latino owned businesses in the region, right?
Is that 22,000? Wow, that's incredible.
22,500 Latino owned businesses in the region and 12,000 in the city of Philadelphia.
That is phenomenal. Wow. Well,
It
yeah, you
is.
guys have a little bit on your plate, but I think what's incredible is that, people have you as a trusted resource. There's so much information out there, and you're there to be a trusted resource for people, and we'll be able to help them through to the other side. And that's tremendous. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's incredibly important. So, I was going to ask you how you think businesses will change, but I think you just touched on all of it. I think doing business will change in so many ways, and you hit on so many of them. And the fact that people have pivoted so quickly to become takeout restaurants when they weren't, or to do delivery.
Yep.
So, I love that. We talked about restaurants. I want to, and that keeps coming up as a recurring theme because, like you said, it's such an integral part of the economy in the Latino community. So, tell me some of your favorite hidden gems. Tell me where else we are right. We're at 4th and Federal, so we have a million. We're by 9th Street. Lots of Mexican restaurants and lots of other Latino restaurants. I'm a huge fan of El Rancho Viejo. It's a small, tiny one at 5th and Carpenter around the corner. We order from there all the time. What are your favorite gems?
So I might get in trouble for this, but if you are not that familiar with Guatemalan food, I highly recommend El Mercury. There is not a really big Guatemalan population in Philadelphia, but it's growing, right? So get to know their food. I think it's great, and she makes great churros. Now, you might think that Central American, Latin American food cannot be healthy, cannot be well. Guess what? We have two great vegan restaurants. So we have Bar Bonbon and Hip City Veg. These are vegan restaurants owned by a great Latina, Nicole Marquis. And we also have Love, Luhv. They have a deli in the Reading Terminal Market. They have a restaurant in Hatboro. And guess what? You can buy their products at Whole Foods. So you can make their soups. You can use their burgers to make vegan food with a little bit of a Hispanic Latino twist. And Casa Mexico is just fantastic.
Okay.
Cristina Martinez, and you might know her from El Compadre and Barbacoa and Netflix. But her Casa Mexico restaurant is just adorable. We went there with friends just before the closure, and just had a wonderful time. We closed that restaurant down, and they were playing Luis Miguel in the background, and they were just we're having a great time. It's just lovely.
Oh, that's so
And
exciting.
and tamalex. Honduran,
Sure.
and they are fantastic. I mean, I look, you couldn't go wrong. just just we
They're
used to do,
to my house. Yeah.
yes, we used to do a restaurant crawl a few years back, in which we used to take like 30 people from restaurant to restaurant in South Philly, and it was just so much fun. And anyway, so you couldn't go wrong.
So good.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm like making this list of all the places I want to try. I think I might just eat out all weekend because it's a holiday weekend and like there's nothing else to do, right?
And
So,
only gain weight is the only thing to do in the
oh yeah,
pandemic,
yeah,
right?
that's totally what's happening for me. Like, does it matter anymore? Not really. Who cares?
People
These
just see from here to here, right? Like, that's it.
exactly. It's fine. It doesn't matter. You don't have to know I'm wearing elastic waistband sweatpants right now. That's exciting. Thanks for the recommendations. I can't wait to try some of these. So are there other things beyond the restaurant efforts that people can do to help the Latino community right now?
Yes, I mean, I think when we think about the Latino community, clearly restaurants are not the only thing that Latinos do. It just happens to be a very front and center because they're being impacted so greatly. But I think we need to really think about where are we spending our dollars and how at every level, you know. So if you're a business and you are cleaning contracts are going to be something that is going to be increasingly important. Well, I think about who you're hiring to do your cleaning. I think there are a lot of very capable firms that are local in the Latino community and not, right? That we should really be thinking proactively. I think our businesses need to be much more intentional, and the consumers need to be much more intentional about how they spend their dollars and who benefits from the dollars you're spending, right? So, cleaning, yard work, I would say, attorneys, interior designers, a lot of, I expect that there will be, for example, some remodeling and reconfiguration of spaces. The Latino community has a fantastic network of designers, architects, engineers of very high quality, right? So we would want, for firms to really consider really how are my dollars spent impacting communities in our neighborhoods, right? And so we can recommend architects, we can recommend attorneys, we can recommend, you just go down the list and think
Yeah.
about where you're spending your dollars. I think it's sort of what I would ask.
That's fantastic. I think, the notion of buying local has been a movement for years, but I think in this environment, it takes on a whole new meaning, right? I mean, you really have to think about, just like you said, where is my money going? Who am I supporting? What does this mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now more than ever, we have so many amazing places.
Yeah, Small Business Saturday should be Small Business Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Like moving forward, like that don't leave it to the first Saturday after Thanksgiving. I mean, it is time to do it like all day, every day.
Well, so my two favorite things to do are eat and shop. So I'm here for it. Like, I'm ready. I'm going to eat and shop every day. Don't worry, I promise.
Look, and I think the industry that will see a big boost, in my opinion, when this is all over, will be like the beauty industry, the hair salons and the barbers. I'm thinking that I know that they are really being impacted right now, but the thing I would tell them is just start planning and strategizing and start talking to your customers. Don't let them forget you exist, because the moment the doors open up, you should be able to work like almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right?
I
Because
know.
it will be, everybody is waiting for the moment. And they will do, if they can sort of stretch it out until that moment, I think that industry will be doing very well.
Oh, you are so right. I've already made appointments that I just keep pushing out because I want to be first in line,
I know.
for everything, for the whole thing. I
Yeah,
got a lot to handle.
the same thing with going out, right? So I have there's a friend of mine that we want to catch up, and we made a date to meet at Bar Bonbon, Latino bar, back in April. And so we moved it to March. They go to May, and then she emailed me, let's move it to to June. And I'm like, if it's not June, and I'm like, at some point we need to be able to go to that bar, right?
It's going to happen. It's
It
going to
is.
happen. A little longer than we planned, but that's okay. We'll get there. It's good.
We'll get there, but we need to, I would say, everybody put your masks on. The sooner you put your mask on, the sooner we'll be out there, right? Like let's just really stick with it so that we can open this economy up as soon as possible.
That's right. That's exactly right. If everybody can just hang in there and keep doing the right thing and social distancing and masking up, then we'll get back. We'll get back. I'm really excited for that. Well, I was going to ask what you're most excited for when we get out of isolation and quarantine. So Bar Bon Bon is one. Anything else you're really looking forward to doing?
Look, I don't want to cook again. Frankly, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Like spaghetti bolognese, and I made a beef Wellington, and all is that great and good, but there's nothing like breaking bread with friends and family. My brother lives in South Philadelphia, and I haven't really been able to spend a lot of time with him, right? And so that's crazy. And because of this, social distancing. So I'm just really looking forward to having friends over, to really supporting the economy in more actively, to seeing friends, and in terms of the Hispanic Chamber, to welcoming our members again. I think one of the greatest and best things that we do is really help build relationships and nurture that network and that social capital. And doing it in person, it's really, there's no match for that. And so I'm so looking forward to shaking people's hands eventually. And initially, you may have to do things a little bit differently, but really that engagement and that sort of cohesiveness and just building relationships, that is so natural for the Latino community. I mean, like, come on. So
Yeah.
I want to do that.
I'm with you. I'm so grateful for you being here today. You are so awesome. I'm just like,
And so are you. I mean, you're a great interviewer. I mean, may we have the next Terry Gross in the.
I like it. So before we sign off, we're just about out of time. Tell us, or tell folks watching what they can do to become members of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
So the best way of really becoming a member of the Hispanic Chamber is to contact us through our website at philahispanicchamber.org, or you can send us an email at info@philahispanicchamber.org. There's always a human being on the other side, so we'll get back to you really quickly, ask you about what your needs are, what your aspirations are, and we'll work a way of integrating you into our network, and we really look forward to doing that.
Oh, I love that. All right, guys, so everybody watching, go to philahispanicchamber.org. Also, I'm really excited to play virtual bingo, so I'm gonna look into that.
I know.
Yeah.
Virtual bingo, I think that we're looking forward to that. I've never done it before, and there's always a first time, and I want to win. I don't know if I can.
Well, I'm gonna try, so I might. I'm gonna hope to. So, all right, guys, support virtual bingo, support Dine Latino. Go get some takeout tonight, because why wouldn't you want to? It's a great day for it. It's kind of the weekend almost. Friday is kind of a holiday day. And thank you so much. It is so awesome to talk to you.
Great. Thank you.
Have a good one.